Encoded gravitational waves. All methods of communication had been exhausted in humanity's desperate attempt to find others among the stars. As centuries passed, hope dimmed. Humanity expanded throughout their solar system, then to nearby stars, establishing a modest interstellar civilization spanning 42 worlds across 16 systems. Commander Eloan Talgrath stood on the observation deck of Outpost Vega 7, gazing at the holographic display of known space. At 43, her weathered face showed the strain of 15 years commanding this distant listening post. Her silver-streaked auburn hair was pulled back tightly, highlighting eyes that had spent too many hours scanning for signals that never came. "Commander, we've detected something." Lieutenant Draven Cavalox's voice crackled through her comm implant. His voice contained something she hadn't heard in years: excitement. "On my way," she replied, already moving toward the central command hub. When Eloan entered, the entire night crew was gathered around the quantum array. Draven, a lanky man with copper skin and unusual violet eyes, a genetic modification popular in the Centauri colonies, stepped aside to give her access to the terminal. "It began 18 minutes ago. Clear signal, artificial origin, directed specifically at our outpost," he explained. Eloan studied the data, her pulse quickening. "Translation coming through now," replied analyst Morwen Blackbridge, her fingers dancing across the interface. Her pale face reflected the blue light of the screens as symbols began resolving into text. The message was simple and chilling. "Humanity, your expansion ends. We have observed in silence. Your species presents unacceptable risk. Surrender or face extinction. You have one standard rotation to comply." Silence fell across the command hub. "Verification?" Eloan asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline surging through her system. Morwen nodded. "Signal origin is approximately 12 light-years distant. Sector 9. Unmistakably artificial. Authentication protocols confirm this is not human in origin." "Alert Central Command. Priority Alpha," Eloan ordered. "And get me Admiral Thaddeus." Within 30 minutes, the entirety of human space was on high alert. After 30,000 years of cosmic solitude, humanity's first contact was a declaration of war. Admiral Rusgar Thaddeus was addressing the United Planetary Council when Eloan's report arrived. An imposing figure with skin dark as space itself and a shock of white hair, he had advocated for military readiness for decades, often facing ridicule for preparing for phantom enemies. "They've given us 24 hours to surrender," he informed the assembled delegates, his deep voice resonating through the chamber. "Surrender to an enemy we've never seen, using technology we don't understand, with capabilities we can only guess at." Counselor Zephyrin Okafor, representing Earth, rose from her seat. "What are our options, Admiral?" "We fight," he replied simply. "We've spent thousands of years preparing for this moment, even when we stopped believing it would come. Against an unknown enemy? With unknown capabilities?" asked Counselor Perihelion Talizer of Mars, his augmented eyes narrowing. Admiral Thaddeus smiled then, a smile that contained no humor, only the cold certainty of a predator. "Counselors, humanity has been refining the art of war since our ancestors picked up the first stone. We've been ready for this moment for 30,000 years. Let's show our new neighbors what that means." As the council chamber erupted in debate, a response was drafted to be broadcast across space. Brief, direct, and unmistakably human in its defiance. "We decline your offer. Come and find out why." The Vrexian command vessel Inevitable Dominance hovered at the edge of the Sol system. Supreme Overseer Quilthrak observed the primitive human defenses with 4 of his 6 eyes, while his secondary visual organs monitored fleet deployments. "They refused surrender," he stated, mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement among his kind. His exoskeleton gleamed under the command deck lights, iridescent plates shifting as he moved. "As predicted. Predictable creatures," agreed Subcommander Vizanthus, her cranial ridges pulsing with anticipation. Our simulations indicate they will be subdued within 3 standard cycles. The Vrexian Collective had encountered 47 spacefaring species in their long history. 46 had been incorporated or eliminated. These humans would be no different. Their strategy was simple: overwhelming force applied with precision. 27 warships against humanity's scattered defenses. The math was clear. "Begin the incursion," ordered Quilthrak. The first Vrexian ships entered Sol space near Neptune's orbit. They encountered no resistance, which Quilthrak found puzzling. Their intelligence indicated defensive platforms should be present. "Proceed with caution," he ordered. As the ships approached the asteroid belt, their sensors detected movement. Small, fast-moving objects emerged from concealment behind various asteroids. "Primitive missiles," Visanthus observed dismissively. But they weren't missiles. The objects, barely larger than shuttlecraft, maneuvered with impossible precision, evading point defense systems. When they reached the Vrexian vessels, they didn't explode. They attached. "What is happening?" Quilthrak demanded as alarms sounded throughout the fleet. "They're boarding us," responded a bewildered tactical officer. Inside each boarding craft were 3 humans in powered armor, soldiers of the Void Infiltration Regiment. Among them was Major Torvald Kashida, a 3rd-generation military specialist whose grandparents had helped develop these boarding tactics. "Breach successful," he reported through his neural link as his armor's cutting implements finished creating an entry point into the alien vessel. Initiating Phase 2. The human strategy became clear. Rather than fighting the technologically superior aliens in space, they would take the battle aboard the enemy ships. It was a tactic no species had ever attempted against the Vrexians before. The humans moved like quicksilver through the alien corridors. Their powered armor provided enhanced strength, speed, and protection against the ship's automated defenses. Most importantly, each soldier carried a quantum disruptor, a device specifically designed to interfere with the most advanced computing systems humans could conceive. On the bridge of the inevitable dominance, Quilthrak watched in mounting horror as ship after ship fell silent. The humans weren't destroying the vessels. They were capturing them. "Impossible," Visanthus whispered as the command deck doors were breached. Major Kashida was the first through, his armor scorched from battle, but still operational. Behind his visor, a grim smile formed at the sight of the alien commander. "In the name of the United Planetary Council," he announced, "this vessel is now under human control." Hours later, Admiral Thaddeus received the report. 17 Vrexian vessels captured intact, 7 destroyed, 3 retreating. Humanity had won the first battle without losing a single ship of their own. In the council chamber, the Admiral allowed himself a rare smile. "Round 1, he announced, "goes to humanity." The Vrexian retreat was swift and humiliating. On their homeworld of Corvus Prime, the High Council convened an emergency session to address this unprecedented failure. The circular chamber, carved from living crystal, amplified the angry clicks and hisses of the assembled leaders. Grand Strategist Nick Sathith, oldest of the council members, struggled to understand the defeat. How could primitives who only achieved spaceflight mere millennia ago defeat our forces? We've been navigating the stars since before their ancestors climbed down from trees. The answer came from an unexpected source. Senior xenobiologist Threx9 entered the chamber, carrying data crystals. Unlike most Vrexians, Threx9 had spent decades studying humanity from afar. "Esteemed Council," she began, her voice soft but carrying the weight of revelation. "We made a fundamental error in our assessment of humanity. We mistook their solitude for weakness." She activated a holographic display showing human history, a bloody tapestry of conflicts spanning millennia. While other species evolved through cooperation with neighbors, humans evolved in isolation, constantly fighting themselves. Their 30,000 years of cosmic silence wasn't peaceful. It was filled with relentless competition, innovation, and warfare. The council clicked in distress as images of human battles flickered through the air. "But surely," protested Council Leader Vrexar, Any species that survived to reach the stars must have transcended such primitive violence. For X9's mandibles twitched in negative response. Humans never transcended violence. They perfected it. When they found no external enemies, they continued to prepare for war against hypothetical threats. The result is a species uniquely adapted for conflict. Meanwhile, aboard the captured Vrexian flagship, now renamed Defiance, human scientists worked feverishly to understand alien technology. Leading this effort was Dr. Isolde Katri, head of xenotechnology research for the United Planetary Council. At 56, Isolde had dedicated her life to theoretical alien technologies. Now theory became reality as she directed teams analyzing everything from Vrexian propulsion systems to weapons technology. Their FTL drive is fascinating, she explained to Admiral Thaddeus during a briefing. It's more efficient than ours, but surprisingly predictable, almost as if innovation stagnated centuries ago. Can we adapt it? The Admiral asked. Better, Isolde replied, her eyes gleaming with the thrill of discovery. We can improve it. Their quantized vacuum manipulation is elegant, but lacks the adaptive algorithms we developed for our own systems. Similar revelations occurred across all technical domains. The Vrexians possessed advanced technology, but it lacked the creative edge that characterized human innovation. Their systems were powerful but rigid, designed for certainty rather than adaptability. Lieutenant Commander Peregrine Voss, head of military intelligence, identified another crucial weakness. Their command structure is completely centralized, he explained during a strategic assessment. They've never needed to develop autonomous decision-making. Their officers wait for orders rather than seizing initiative. This insight proved invaluable when the Vrexians launched their counterattack. 3 days after their initial defeat, a force twice the size of the first appeared at the edge of Sol System. This time, humanity was fully prepared. Admiral Thaddeus deployed a strategy of dispersed command. Each human vessel operated with complete tactical autonomy under a common strategic framework. When the Vrexians disrupted communications, hoping to paralyze the human fleet, they instead found themselves facing dozens of independently operating units, each adapting to battlefield conditions in real time. The resulting battle lasted less than 6 hours. The Vrexian fleet, unable to adapt to human tactics, suffered devastating losses. As the last enemy ships fled, Lieutenant Commander Voss summarized humanity's advantage. They expected us to fight like them. Unified, predictable by the book. But humans don't have a book. We have thousands of books, and we're constantly writing new ones. 3 months into the conflict, humanity's tactical success evolved into strategic advantage. Captured Vrexian navigation data revealed the location of 7 major outposts and supply depots. Admiral Thaddeus wasted no time organizing raids. Fleet Captain Orion Blackwood commanded the assault on the largest target, Outpost Zenith 9, a massive space station orbiting a gas giant in the Procyon system. At 38, Orion had risen quickly through the ranks due to his tactical brilliance and unorthodox thinking. Standard approach won't work here, he informed his strike team as they studied the station schematics. So we're going to do something they'll never expect. We're going straight through their waste disposal system. Specialist Lyra Vondry, explosives expert, raised an eyebrow. You want us to flush ourselves into an alien station? Exactly, Orion replied with a grin. Their security protocols focus on conventional entry points. Their waste system is minimally monitored because no species would be desperate or crazy enough to use it. Except humans, Lyra concluded with a matching smile. The mission proceeded as planned. While a small force of human ships engaged the station's defenses in a convincing feint, Orion's team infiltrated through maintenance conduits designed to eject processed waste into space. The Vrexians never detected their presence until alarms began sounding throughout the station. By then, it was too late. The humans had reached the central command hub and core data repositories. Download everything. Orion ordered as his team secure the area and plant quantum tracers in their communication systems. Let's see where their distress calls go. The intelligence gathered from Outpost Zenith 9 proved more valuable than anyone anticipated. Among the recovered data was something that stunned even Admiral Thaddeus. Complete star charts of Vrection space, including the location of their homeworld. They never imagined we could reach their core systems, the Admiral observed during the Emergency Council meeting. Their entire defensive strategy is built around controlling approaches to their territory, not protecting the territory itself. Counselor Okafor frowned. Are you suggesting a direct assault on their homeworld? That seems excessive. Not an assault, Admiral Thaddeus clarified. A demonstration. The plan was audacious. A small, elite force would penetrate Vrection space using captured and modified enemy vessels. Their target wasn't the Vrection homeworld itself, but a ceremonial moon orbiting it, a sacred site where the Vrection ruling class maintained monuments to their conquests. Commander Iloan Talgrath, whose outpost had received the initial threat, volunteered to lead the mission. Poetic justice, she told Admiral Thaddeus. They threatened us without understanding who they were threatening. Now we'll return the favor, but with a much clearer understanding of our enemy. The mission was designated Operation Mirror. 3 captured Vrection vessels, crewed by human specialists and modified with hybrid technology, slipped through enemy space using the aliens' own identification protocols. By the time Vrection defenses recognized the deception, Iloan's team had reached the ceremonial moon and deployed their payload. Not bombs, not weapons of mass destruction, something far more devastating to the Vrection psyche. Quantum projectors, massive holographic systems broadcasting images of human history, culture, and achievements across the surface of the sacred moon. The message was clear. We know who you are. We know where you live. And now you will know who we are. For the first time in their long history, the Vrections faced an enemy who had brought war to their doorstep. Not to destroy, but to communicate. In the High Council chamber on Corvus Prime, Grand Strategist Nick Sathith watched the projections with growing dread. They could have destroyed the moon. He clicked softly. Why didn't they? Xenobiologist Threx9 had no answer, but fear had begun to give way to a new emotion. Curiosity about these puzzling humans who fought so differently from any species they had encountered before. 6 months into the conflict, the war entered an unexpected phase. Using intelligence gathered from captured Vrection databases, humanity made a startling discovery. The Vrection Collective wasn't the monolithic empire they claimed to be. Rather, it was a fragile alliance of the original Vrections and 6 subjugated species, held together through technological superiority and cultural domination. Ambassador Lycaeus Thorn, humanity's foremost diplomatic strategist, saw an opportunity. At 63, with hair white as starlight and dark skin lined with age, Lycaeus had negotiated peace between human factions for decades. Now, he proposed something radical. We don't need to defeat the Vrections militarily, he explained to the council. We need to dismantle their coalition. His plan was dubbed Operation Fractured Mirror. While military pressure continued, diplomatic channels would open to the subjugated species within the collective. The message: humanity offers alliance, not domination. The first breakthrough came with the Thalassians, aquatic beings who had been absorbed into the collective 3 centuries earlier. Using communications protocols extracted from Vrection databases, Ambassador Thorn established contact with Thalassian resistance leaders. We understand subjugation, Lycaeus told Wave Speaker Nimariah, leader of the Thalassian underground. Humans fought against oppression throughout our history. We offer technology, resources, and military support, not in exchange for servitude, but for partnership. The proposal was revolutionary to species accustomed to hierarchical relationships. One by one, resistance movements within the collective received similar overtures. The Vrection leadership was outraged when they discovered these diplomatic incursions. Supreme Overseer Quilthrak, now restored to command after his previous failure, ordered immediate crackdowns on all subjugated worlds. This human contagion of independence must be contained, he declared, mandibles clicking furiously. The harsh response backfired. Inspired by humanity's unexpected offer and equipped with smuggled human technology, resistance movements blossomed into full rebellions. The Mech-Theri manufacturing worlds halted production. The Illuvian crystal miners sabotaged critical shipments. The Thalassian water worlds blocked access to vital resupply stations. Within weeks, the mighty Vrexian war machine began to sputter. On the diplomatic front, Lycaos arranged a historic summit on Outpost Vega 7, the very station that had received the initial Vrexian threat. Representatives from 4 subjugated species met with human diplomats to formalize an alliance. Wave speaker Nimariah, representing the Thalassians, expressed what many felt. For generations, we were told that unity came through submission. Humans show us that true alliance respects difference. While diplomacy reshaped the political landscape, Dr. Isolde Katri made another breakthrough in understanding Vrexian psychology. Analyzing cultural data from captured archives, she identified their fundamental weakness. The Vrexians don't innovate because they fear chaos, she explained. Their entire society is built on predictability. Improvisation terrifies them. That's why human tactics seem so inexplicable to them. We embrace uncertainty in ways they cannot comprehend. This insight led to a new military strategy. Rather than focusing on direct confrontation, human forces began creating unpredictable patterns of engagement, attacking, retreating, offering peace, then striking from unexpected vectors. The psychological impact on Vrexian commanders was devastating. As the coalition of resistance forces grew, Supreme Overseer Quilthrak faced mounting pressure from the High Council. Their perfect order was collapsing, not through military defeat, but through a form of warfare they had never encountered, one that weaponized hope and solidarity rather than fear and domination. In a desperate bid to regain control, Quilthrak ordered his remaining loyal forces to prepare for a final, massive assault on humanity's homeworld. Victory or extinction, there would be no middle ground. Unknown to him, humanity's intelligence network, now enhanced by allies throughout former Vrexian space, had already detected these preparations. Admiral Thaddeus studied the intelligence reports with a grim expression. "So it comes to this after all," he murmured. They would rather die than adapt. The Vrexian armada assembled at the edge of their territory, 300 warships, the largest fleet ever deployed in their long history of conquest. Supreme Overseer Quilthrak had committed everything to this final assault. Across the collective, remaining loyal forces stripped planetary defenses to join the attack on Earth. This primitive species has disrupted the cosmic order, Quilthrak addressed his commanders. We will restore balance through their elimination. Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Thaddeus convened an emergency session of the United Planetary Council. The chamber was now expanded to include representatives from former Vrexian subject species. "Our intelligence is confirmed," the Admiral explained, displaying the approaching armada's trajectory. "They're committing their entire military to a single, overwhelming strike." Counselor Okafor voiced the question on everyone's mind. Can we withstand such a force? If we fight conventionally? No, Admiral Thaddeus answered honestly. But I'm not proposing a conventional defense. He outlined a plan so audacious that the chamber fell silent. It wasn't a military strategy, but a psychological one. A plan that leveraged everything humanity had learned about their adversary. As the Vrexian fleet approached Sol System, they encountered nothing. No defensive line. No scattered resistance. No sign of humanity's forces whatsoever. Quilthrak's mandibles clicked in confusion. "Advance with caution," he ordered. "This absence of resistance is suspicious." When the Armada reached Mars orbit, they finally discovered humanity's response. Not a counterattack, but a message broadcast on all Vrexian frequencies from a small, unarmed vessel. The lone ship was piloted by Commander Eloan Talgrath. When communications opened, she faced Supreme Overseer Quilthrak with remarkable calm. "The United Planets of Earth and our allies formally invite the leadership of the Vrexian Collective to peace negotiations," she stated. We propose immediate cessation of hostilities and establishment of diplomatic relations. Quilthrak's compound eyes pulsed with rage. You face annihilation and offer peace? This must be deception. It is simply recognition of a truth your society has forgotten, Eloan replied. Conflict is costly. Cooperation yields greater benefits for all parties. Your subject species understood this. Now we offer you the same choice they made. Where are your defenses? Your fleets, demanded Quilthrak. Eloan smiled. Look around you. At that moment, quantum distortion fields dropped throughout the system, revealing the full deployment of humanity's forces and their allies. Not arranged in defensive formations, but positioned to surround the Vrexian fleet completely. Mixed crews of humans and former subject species man vessels of hybrid technology. The best innovations of 7 different civilizations combined. The trap was perfect, but it wasn't meant to destroy. You came seeking war, Eloan continued. We offer a different path. Your empire of domination is already dissolving. Join us in building something better, a federation of equals. For long moments, silence filled the communication channels. Then, unexpectedly, a new voice joined the exchange. Xenobiologist Threx9 had taken the unprecedented step of addressing both leaders directly. Supreme Overseer, she began, mandibles clicking in the pattern of formal dissent. For 30,000 years, the Vrexians have conquered because we believed uniformity was strength. These humans prove otherwise. Their strength comes from diversity, adaptation, and willingness to change. Her next words shocked the Vrexian command structure. I support the human proposal. One by one, other voices joined, first hesitantly, then with growing confidence. Commanders who had seen their perfect strategies fail against human unpredictability. Scientists who had studied human innovation with growing admiration. Even members of the High Council, speaking from Corvus Prime, who recognized that their cycle of conquest had reached its end. Supreme Overseer Quilthrak faced a choice that no Vrexian leader had ever encountered. Genuine evolutionary pressure to change or perish. After millennia of imposing their will upon others, the Vrexians would need to learn cooperation. In the council chamber on Earth, Admiral Thaddeus watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. Beside him, Ambassador Lycaos Thorn nodded in approval. They threatened extinction, the Admiral observed, and we responded with inclusion. The most human response possible, Lycaos replied with a smile. 30,000 years of cosmic silence had ended not with humanity's extinction, but with the birth of something unprecedented, a true interstellar community of diverse species, united not through domination, but through mutual respect and shared innovation. When historians later recorded this turning point, they noted the irony. The Vrexians had declared war, believing humanity would tremble. Instead, humanity had laughed, not in mockery, but in recognition of an opportunity to demonstrate what they had learned during their long isolation. That the greatest victory isn't destroying your enemy, but transforming them into allies.